Hello.
Welcome. Hello. We apologize for the slight audio technical difficulties in the beginning. I blame the person that made our trailer.
Yep, there you go.
She's the worst.
But also the best.
But also the best. All the time, forever.
The burst.
The burst.
The burst.
So welcome to the Power of the Ancients, Patch of the Ancients.
Patch of the Ancients.
Patch of the Ancients
Yeah.
expansion.
It's play on words.
Devstream.
That's what it is.
The Power of the Ancients expansion, Devstream. Alec has problems with keyboards sometimes.
And Colin has problems with checking.
I don't use my eyes.
That's true.
So I don't know. I don't like you making fun of me.
I'm sorry. I'll treat you to a soda pop.
Okay, now I'm happy.
Alright.
Anyway, so we're going to get started. Today on the Devstream, we're going to kind of talk about, we're not going to go like in a heavy specifics because we're kind of still in like heavy iteration phase for kind of the final polished touch-ups and system things. So I don't want to like make any promises and then we change it based on feedback. And then everyone's like, oh, you told me I would get, and then get mad.
Why did you do
Get
this?
mad at us on the forums or something or in Discord. But we are going to tell you kind of a brief high level of how the new systems and things coming in Power of the Ancients work. And also just like to clear up kind of, we've seen some misconceptions and kind of assumptions and stuff like that about how it's going to work based on our devlog that we released. So we just want to like clear some things up, give you some details about how some of the new systems work in the game and in the expansion. The gameplay footage that Eric's going to be showing today is just the regular live game. We're going to show off the gameplay on our release dev stream, which will be announced later.
Yeah.
But it will be soon, TM.
Trademark.
Sometime after Thanksgiving. I mean, it's not going to be like next week.
Yeah.
Because obviously we do dev streams on Fridays, and that would make no sense.
Yeah.
Unless we all just like magically
We're coming back.
come to work on
Yeah.
a break day,
Yeah.
but you know. So we'll show that off a little bit later. There's a lot of things kind of coming in right now in terms of wrapping up the whole thing together and making it look snazzy. So we'll be showing it off later. But so we're going to talk to you guys today about the new features.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start by talking about Onslaught and the new version of Onslaught.
New.
And it is not like the old Onslaught.
Not at all.
It's a way prettier version. It's the Onslaught 2018. I know, it's going to be like the future version coming in 2017, which makes it even better than real life.
Yeah.
So,
it's the best version.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about how maybe players will be like entering into Onslaught for the first time? Like how would a new player go into Onslaught? Like how would that work?
So you'll clear through campaign, and as soon as you get through campaign, you'll have the option to go into either Trials 1 like you currently do, or Onslaught. And you can progress through either or right away, and you'll start at the first floor of Onslaught, and there's, I don't know if we're going to talk about exactly how to progress through that yet, but you'll have access to it right away. You'll be getting, from completing it, you'll get gear. You'll be able to get gear to progress through it. You'll be getting some shards as well to progress through it. I don't know if we're going to talk about exactly how many of anything specifically.
No, those are deets.
Those are specifics?
The deets
Are we not talking
aren't
specifics?
ironed down.
Okay, alright.
But yeah, so Onslaught's actually we're gonna actually be implementing a gating system that is gonna, for all you regular players, you're probably not gonna see much of a difference. You'll have the same access to the same stuff that you already do for the most part, because you'll have everything unlocked. But for newer players, we're actually adding in like a progression gating system, so you actually have to like we kind of did it with Mastery right now, where you have to beat a Trials level to go into Mastery. I think is that live right now? No?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's live right now. I think you can just jump in.
Not yet, but
anyway, so that's happening too.
Yeah.
We're adding a lot of gating, because one thing we actually saw is a bunch of players are rolling right into like middle end game modes with like not even campaign equipment or levels.
Yeah.
And it's like a decent enough percentage that we
need to add some gating. Like it needs to be there.
It needs to happen because honestly it's ruining a lot of people's experience and
Yeah.
they don't really understand like why they can't do all the things all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just we're adding kind of like some unlock progression to our end game modes and stuff like that. So once you get out of campaign, you'll have access to floor 1 of Onslaught, Chaos 1 of Trials. You can go straight in and try them out. Onslaught, the way we're building Onslaught is we're building it to be a little more like incremental progression, while Trials has very defined kind of ranges of difficulty that you kind of have to gear up for to beat, and then move up to the next one. It's going to be much like smaller, more incremental steps for Onslaught. So floor 1 of Onslaught will be tuned roughly around where the end of campaign leaves off. So it should be like super doable and achievable for players that just got done with the campaign. And then as they go up, it will continuously get harder. And it doesn't it's not like floor 7 of Onslaught is going to match Chaos 7.
Yeah.
It doesn't line up number-wise with Chaos, but it's really like its whole separate system of progression that we've built into Onslaught. The loot drops correspond to the floors now, so just as you go higher floors, you'll be getting better loot. Again, it's kind of up to a cap. The cap we haven't discussed yet. Well, I mean, we've discussed it.
Well,
we haven't discussed it with you guys yet. But it will still go up to a cap and kind of like max out on gear. And then kind of what you'll use to further push Onslaught and stuff like that will be various things you get from Ancient Power and Ascension, and mostly Ancient Power. Mostly Ancient Power, but also Ascension.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things you have right now, like your gear, your upgrades, your Ascension levels, it's all going to be useful immediately to you kind of rolling into this new patch. You're going to get quite a big head start in kind of the Onslaught progression, but there's definitely some more progression you're going to have to be doing in order to unlock Ancient Power. So one thing I do want to talk about before we move on to Ancient Power is kind of Onslaught. And there was an assumption that Onslaught is only on the new map that we teased.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not. It's actually all the maps. It is a semi-random progressed selection. It's hard to describe without telling you exactly how everything works.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's essentially going to pull from different pools of maps, which include all of the maps that you have available to you in Trials, and also some of the incursion maps. For instance, Hot Springs will be in Onslaught. So the Hot Springs map will be available while you're playing Onslaught to be one of the levels that you play. But the way Onslaught works is at the end of each floor is kind of like a checkpoint map, and at end game it will be the checkpoint map will always be this Onslaught map. And that Onslaught map will kind of be how you kind of save your progress in Onslaught without going into too many details about how Onslaught works.
Yeah.
But essentially, you'll go to this Onslaught map will be that save point in your progression. And every time you go to it, because of how it's built, every time you go to it, it's going to be different. It randomly selects the lanes, and it's not entirely random. It's designed randomness.
Yeah.
It'll select lanes and cores. It selects cores first, and then it'll generate lanes based on the cores that it picked. But it'll generate a different setup each time that you're going in it. And then, kind of to talk about the other system that's pretty sweet with Onslaught is the kind of the enemy mutators and variants that you'll encounter within the Onslaught game mode. So not only in the map will it randomly pick lanes and cores, it'll also pick different schedules of enemies that have been custom designed for this new game mode. Also on the new map, you can have more enemies than any of our other maps in currently in battle, and it's more than double. It's more than double the enemies. So the new maps is going to be bananas, and it's super fun to play. And some of these schedules are crazy heavy.
It's just gigantic too. Each time you play through it, I think through the different times I've played through it, you can cover. It's so huge. You cover different specific areas. It feels like a different map, and even in the lane changes, it's just you can't have the same exact strategy each time. So you actually have to think about what you're doing.
And the way we're generating it, it's not going to be you're going to have to be way opposite ends of the maps all the time, because again, it's kind of we finagled the generation a bit so that it's kind of a more handcrafted yet still random experience. Various enemy modifiers and stuff like that. We've actually set up maybe there's maybe I'll tease like one of them.
Oh no.
Where enemies get stronger the farther they go down a lane, and then there's the opposite where they actually get weaker the farther they go down the lane. So you actually like in one case you want to, like you feel like you have to build them closer to the spawners because they'll be weaker when they first come out of the spawn, but then vice versa on the other one. But for example, like that's a situation where if enemies had both those modifiers on, like that makes no sense.
Right.
So we set up the modifiers to kind of like not spawn with each other in certain combinations because it's super weird and would be dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So
you
again,
told me 2. You said 1. Now it's 2.
I mean, but it's 2 that do a similar thing.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't count.
Okay. All right.
So that's kind of a tease, I guess, of modifiers, but. God, I don't even like know to go from there. I'm like, I want to tell you all the things, but I also don't.
They're also persistent, though. It's not like they're going to change every build phase, right?
Right. So the modifiers will happen right when, right when you enter into the map. It'll pick them off the bat. They're not going to like shift every single wave.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be fun to have what you just said.
Yeah,
build close, and then all of a sudden switches to the ones that are stronger.
Yeah, they won't switch up on you on like in mid, map,
Yeah.
but they'll just be different every time you come to the map. One thing that's also cool that we're playing with that may or may not happen on the map, I don't know. There might be an extra lane of enemies that might activate sometime during the battle. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see and find out.
You'll find out maybe.
I don't know. Like,
Maybe.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that may or may not be taking place at some point in time in the map.
Yeah.
But no, it's just really cool. It's a very different setup of defense and changing up your strategies. And what also another thing that's really cool that I just want to also talk about with Onslaught is we listened to a lot of feedback about how people didn't enjoy kind of like the trials enemies just being like an overwhelming amount of a certain chaos enemy. So we had a lot of people talk about like geodes or something like that, right? Where they're just like, geodes coming from every lane is such a pain. So that will not, unless you're really unlucky, that usually won't happen in Onslaught, because it pulls from such like a big pool of potential schedules of enemies. And because of like the randomized choosing, you're not going to get like 2 of the same schedules picking together. You're also going to get, just like a much more varied pool of enemies and setups to kind of be defending. So it's a very different experience kind of than what people are used to in Trials and Mastery right now. Where Trials and Mastery, it's like, all right, I know this chaos is this enemy. I know this build works against it. It's going to be super different from that, where it's like every lane could potentially be different and have a different setup of enemies. Maybe this one lane is a ton of javelin throwers, so reflect walls would be insanely, good to counter this.
Might be a little strong.
Might be a little strong against them.
Maybe.
So just things like that, where it's, you actually have to kind of start thinking about your defense each time you're playing, and adjusting to kind of what's going on in the game. And what we found from testing is actually way more kind of engaging and fun gameplay, just from kind of the feedback that we've gotten so far about it. And we'll be giving out kind of more specifics over time as we get closer to release. There's just a lot of like final iteration and stuff going on right now, so that's why I don't want to be like, this is everything set in stone, because that would just be incorrect.
How could that backfire?
How could that backfire ever?
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's great. So I just want to reiterate, really, it's like, this is really crafted based on paying attention to what you guys have been saying, like for, a long time. Like a long time, since the March release of Trials. We've been working on this game mode for a long time too. And honestly, it's also kind of the brainchild of, like, Eric and I obviously have been playing the game before we even started working here. And, we really wanted Onslaught to be a cool, end game mode beyond what it used to be in the alpha. And so this is, it's a combination of player feedback that we've been reading on the forums, hearing from you guys in Trials, and then also just, some like old desires for Onslaught from, some like old players that maybe have left the game for a while because they really want to see Onslaught return. and just kind of like remembering kind of what their desires were from gameplay, and then also our current players' desires from gameplay, and we took those and mashed them up together into this new mode. So we're really excited for you guys to check it out, because it's going to be really sweet and really engaging. And again, it scales infinitely right now, which is nuts. But also we've given you the potential to actually scale your power infinitely. It'll just take a while, but well, I mean, not for some guys, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure players will find crafty ways of, min-maxing their power gain.
Players don't
as
do
you
that.
do. Yeah, no, that never happens in any game. I don't know what we're talking about.
Never seen that.
So I think I went over most of the things I want to talk about in Onslaught. Oh yeah, so Onslaught, just mention again, like the rewards you get from it. You get loot, you get shards, you get like all the things pretty much. There's also a special Onslaught pet that is a very rare drop from Onslaught victory chests. So we'll be showing him off in another stream, but he's a cool, just, I don't know, like unique, rare pet.
Okay.
He doesn't have his own new ability. He just uses some of the existing pet abilities. So it's not like, oh, there's a secret Onslaught pet that's going to be the new OP pet.
Yeah.
Like that. It's not how it's going to work. But it's just, it's just a rare, cool thing we wanted you guys to have and kind of have, a fun, rare item to get. There's also some specific flares that you get for certain, similar how we did the Mastery, where if you beat certain stuff, you'll unlock flares from gameplay. There's going to be Onslaught sets too, so you'll unlock new flare looks and things to equip on your character that will, give you some sweet new looks. We teased one of them on the devlog, some of the little tentacle action. That one is probably the hardest set to get.
But it looks so
good luck. Good luck, but it does look really good. There's actually a full set that goes along with it. It's kind of themed to the old ones and kind of dark tentacles, and our artist did a really good job with it. So it's really sweet. But that's like that's a long-term progression reward. So I almost feel a little guilty that we showed it off already. It's like one of the cooler things.
Yeah.
But like our animator was like so proud of tentacles. So, and we all liked it in the studio so much, we're like, why not? It's just something cool.
It's also like, it just shows that we're going to maybe switch up some things, because we have some, you guys have seen the runic wings so far, and then some of the stuff that we have available now, some of the wings that Eric's showing off as well. So the tentacles are just like another awesome iteration that shows it's not just wings, you're also being corrupted as a portal.
We're just adding a lot more stuff so you can kind of customize your look on your characters, because we really wanted to add more things for players to, look unique and feel cool. Yeah. And it's, it's free via progression. So there's more cool things to get for free, just via gameplay. So then I'm gonna move right into trials changes. So the trials changes, again, I'm not gonna get too much into specifics because we're still kind of playing around with values and numbers and stuff like that. But I kind of wanted to give you guys our thoughts on trials and Onslaught, how they're going to behave together right now. Trials is still going to be kind of the weird smart loot that people don't. It's not very fun, and we've obviously been getting a lot of feedback about. We do still plan on changing the loot progression in trials, but actually our plans for that were a little more involved. So we were already like working on Onslaught, so that's why we kind of shifted Onslaught to have a little bit. Better loot progression that makes more sense to all kind of levels of players, and just, it makes so much more sense at a higher level, where it's just like, oh yeah, you get better loot for like going farther in Onslaught. That makes sense. It's not like this weird, I have to equip a mule in order to get drops. The drops just correspond to the floor that you're playing. Yeah. Like, so you actually just go to better floors to get better gear, and that's the intention of Onslaught. So we're really trying to make a loot progression mode that makes sense with Onslaught. Trials will still be there. Trials we really kind of want to, like, it's a weird analogy, but we kind of wanted to make it like the dungeon queuing of our game. Yeah. Where it's almost like you sacrifice the map choice, right, in the like limited pool, but also it's like a ton of the certain enemies, so it's going to be tuned a little bit more difficult than Onslaught's kind of like incremental stepstone progression. Yeah. so it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but you also get more loot and more shards via the consecutive win bonus. And
It'll be more difficult compared to Onslaught.
Compared to
not what it is now. it's the difficulty will remain the same as what you experienced. Because it'd be super punishing to be like, this thing you've had.
Well, it's just like harder. The jumps between the trials levels are bigger gaps than like Onslaught's floors are going to be. So if you're looking for like more incremental like makes sense progression, Onslaught's going to be the way to go 100%. But if you're feeling like you're good at the game and just want to blast through trials progression, you can do that too. Yeah. And we'll actually unlock the corresponding levels of trials in Onslaught depending on how much you progress through either of them. So like if you're a Chaos, so this will also kind of help explain how you're going to transition into this expansion. But if you're a Chaos 7 player, right, you've been farming Chaos 7, it's easy for you and whatever, you're going to transition into the Chaos 7 level of Onslaught. So you're already going to have kind of a head start into the Onslaught progression. And then, the same goes for every Chaos level. If you're a Chaos 1 player, you're going to have the Chaos 1 floors of Onslaught unlocked, and then you'll be able to progress, up from there. But again, it's because of how Onslaught's built, it's probably going to be easier to progress through it incrementally, but it also might be a little bit slower than Trials. But Onslaught will then scale past Trials.
Yeah, so initially, Trials at the very base is going to be a little bit harder than the initial Onslaught, but as you get through it, obviously C7 is the highest trial. In Onslaught, you can go past that.
You can just keep going past.
You just keep going.
Good luck. Because it gets crazy hard.
Oh yeah.
So then I guess I kind of already talked about the map, so I'll just like roll into the Ancient Power system, which is kind of like this. Ancient Power is to kind of give like the quick one sentencer. It's like our version of prestiging and ascending built for our game.
Yeah.
So it's like you do, it's not a full reset of your entire account. You do a limited account reset of some of your various like levels of things and your equipment and stuff. And again, I'll go into more details about exactly what gets reset as we get closer to the release. So you reset some areas of your account in order to gain permanent buffs to your account. And I do want to reveal one cool thing about Ancient Power. In addition to kind of the permanent kind of passive buffs you get to your account, you're actually going to get an Ancient Power point that's going to behave similarly to Ascension points, just in that you can like allocate it. But you're actually going to be able to pick a Ancient Power like power, and it's going to be a buff. This buff actually it'll apply to you, obviously it's your buff, but it actually can apply to other party members as well, and they stack with other party members that also have them. So each buff can stack with other people that have Ancient Power, and so if you get a bunch of people that have gone through the Ancient Power a bunch of times and gotten a ton, you'll have a lot of buffs kind of stacking with each other. It's also a good way to kind of give your friends some buffs and help boost them through some content. You can reset them like you can Ascension points. So if you want to pick a different buff or whatever, you can do that, play with it a little bit. I'm sure we'll do some like, free reset weekends like we've been doing kind of on and off here and there. So give players some time so they can kind of explore and experiment with it a little bit more. But yeah, honestly, that's probably my favorite part of it. Like the passive buffs to the account are really good. You'll also get a cool little like party frame icon that will kind of show, similar to the prestiging in like a shooter game or something where you get that little emblem next to your name. We're going to be doing that too. It's going to show up over your kind of health bar with your name in game, and then also on your party frames, and also shows to other players. So it's a good way to kind of show off your ranking and your Ancient Power rank, Ancient Power level.
We also expect to see like there being like public games where it's just like boosting XP constantly because you'll be getting these buffs as well. They'll apply to other people. So you'll be looking for other people who have gone through Ancient Power as well, and you'll be able to boost each other super fast through stuff over time. Like you just get more and more of them, you progress way faster.
And then with the Ancient Power buffs and the buffs and the passive buffs and the powers themselves, you'll be able to push farther into Onslaught. So like in addition to the Ascension levels giving you power, the ancient power system will actually give you a lot more strength as well, which then you can continue doing and push farther and farther. So I'm interested to see kind of how far people get on like the initial playthrough.
Yeah.
It's also going to be, you're going to have to achieve ancient power. It's not just going to be like, oh, I just get to do it whenever I want.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get to a certain point of Onslaught and actually unlock it, and then you'll be able to do it.
And you're not forced to do it.
You're not forced to do it. You don't like have to.
Yeah.
It's not like you hit a point and you're just like, oh man, I have to, do a limited reset now. You can keep going if you want. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But we've definitely designed it in a way where you'll get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those are things we're kind of iterating and building on. We really want it to be valuable for players and worth doing. We want you to get a lot out of it. Because the way we built Onslaught, and with the scaling difficulty and stuff, we want you to get to farther floors.
Yeah.
They're really fun to play, and they're insanely fun with a group of people, especially on this new map.
Yeah.
The new map is nuts with a full party on high difficulty level. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the best places our game shines.
Yeah.
Just in terms of abilities and defenses working well, and shards. The new hyper shards that people are getting from mastery. You're going to start realizing that some of those are really useful at higher difficulty levels of Onslaught.
Yeah.
Quite a bit more useful than maybe you understood from the current level of mastery. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, but I'm not saying.
With Onslaught, with public games specifically, right now we have an ascension filter, which with double XP has kind of made things a little messy. You'll have to have unlocked the floors to progress, and in order to join those games as well, you'll have already had to have taken on that floor. Yeah. So public games looking for specific floors, you'll be able to join things a little bit easier because you'll be playing with people who've already done it. So
or on the same progression as you.
Yeah. So it's if someone's going into it, they're either at the same level as you or above. So there'll be less problems finding people to play with.
Yeah, we're gonna lock out matchmaking for people that haven't. And I know some people will be like, oh, but then I can't get boosted, whatever, to instant floor 50. It's like, well, then that would kind of defeat the point of progression in our game. But you can do big hop skips and jumps via trials if you want to. Mm-hmm. If that's a little more fun for you, and you're like, oh, I know how to do trials. I know how to gear quickly through that and blast through it. That can save you a lot of time, but then also I anticipate that a lot of players are going to enjoy Onslaught more, so they can go through that all they want. Again, it's we really want to add variety in how you can play and how you can progress. Mm-hmm. So all our game modes are going to be there, and they're all kind of useful with each other, right? Like trials will give you more shards and more loot. Mastery gives you unique rewards in the form of the hyper shards and stuff like that. The hyper shards will be super useful into helping you push into Onslaught. They're not you don't have to have them, but it's definitely going to help you min-max your build and get higher. Mm-hmm. So you'll definitely want to get them. Yeah. If you're trying to push floors. If you're not, then it's probably not a huge deal for you. And if you just want to grind ancient power and just roll through the progression over and over, you can do that too. Mm-hmm. We really just want to give you options for kind of how you want to play. Do you want to push the highest floor in Onslaught? Do you want to just roll through some XP and just chain level and boost your account a bunch? Do you want to do some mastery and get some stars and weird challenges, right, where you're scaled down to the level? Mm-hmm. Do you want to do trials and just get a bunch of loot and stuff like that for facing kind of harder just swarms of the same enemy? There's really there's still more to come on kind of how we're building all those things to work together, but this expansion is really that big first step forward in adding progression to the game and adding a game mode where you guys will actually be able to use the things you've been earning to play the rest of the game, I guess. So it's really cool.
And one thing I also like about Ancient Power is just once you're going through it, you can also say you've wanted to bring a friend into it for a while, you'll be able to be like, hey, I've got to do this anyways. It'll be along the same where you're at. Here's a little, kind of bonus as well. So then you can go through it together as well, each time that you go through Ancient Power.
Yeah, and we're leaving a lot of freedom for. It's I know we're saying we added gating to a lot of things and progression, but we're also keeping access to a lot of stuff. You have a lot of freedom to play whichever of the modes kind of as you're progressing, so you don't have to like, I mean, currently in our game, before mastery, it was you could only play trials post campaign. So now you're gonna have more options for progressing your character. Mastery is probably not a great option for progressing your character, but at least Trials and Onslaught will be 2 modes that you can be making progression in at different rates, and you get to pick. So those are the I guess, to me, that's one of the best parts of Onslaught, is kind of giving you better progression that makes sense. Might be easier for people, especially going Chaos 1 through 7 solo. It might be better for you guys, just, if you're like, oh, I don't really find groups in Trials. Trials is a little too rough for me at times, or a certain enemy's giving me trouble, I don't have the right hero to beat it.
Yeah.
You can just roll into Onslaught and just make, the incremental progression at your own pace. If you're having trouble on a floor, farm the floor that you just beat like one more time. Yeah. You'll probably be ready for the next floor again. It drops enough loot, it'll feel good enough. I really think this progression is going to be sick.
Yep.
Sick. I mean, I know it is.
Yeah.
I've been playing it.
I was going to say, what about the time you've been playing it?
We're still tweaking.
Yeah. So
I just anticipate that people will enjoy it. Because, I mean, I like it 1,000 times better than Trials. I might be biased, though, because I'm helping make it.
That's how I feel about it, though, too.
Well, Eric's, doing all the work. I just, tell them what to do.
Yeah.
So, Eric and Jose. I got to give Jose credit.
Yeah.
His post on the devlog was dope.
Yeah.
So that was...
You haven't seen the devlog.
5 out of 7 if you haven't seen the devlog.
Check it out.
Jose had quite a big chunk. Jose and Eric have been the designers working on Onslaught. So, again, it's really cool. We've had kind of ex-players turned devs building this new endgame mode for you guys. So I really, I see a lot of times on the forums, they're like, how do the devs know, anything, or how to build the game or what we want. I mean, obviously we're not going to be perfection 110% of the time. We're human, but I do feel like this mode is kind of a step in the right direction of moving with the game, and obviously previous turbo nerd players like myself have helped building it. So I'm really excited for you guys to try it out. And then just to plug RPG a little bit, if you want to try out Onslaught early, you'll have to sign an NDA, so you have to be 18 or older. Obviously, you can't reveal things about it as we're tweaking it and building, finishing it up. But do contact our remote QA manager, Danny Moore. He might post something in chat, his email address or something. You send him an email and express interest. We're definitely going to be recruiting people for the remote playtesting group to give us feedback about Onslaught. So if you want to check it out early and you want to give us feedback on rates and drops, there's a lot of changes and stuff that we're rolling through and doing all the time right now to really iron it down as an awesome experience. So we'd love to have your help. We'd love to have your input on it, how to build it. We're also going to be testing the ancient power system too. So it's not just Onslaught, but it's all the things in this expansion. You get to see the map, you get to see the mode, you get to see the ancient power system, you get to see kind of how that works. So you get to see a lot of stuff early, and then also to give us valuable feedback. So if that's interesting to you, please join our remote playtesting groups.
Yeah,
we would.
It's kind of it's like a PTR kind of thing. It's just not public.
Kind of, yeah. It's like PTR. Yeah. PTR without the P.
Private.
It's just a TR.
It's a TR. We got the TR.
It's a CTR.
CTR.
Closed testing.
Yeah. You can do P for private.
You could.
You could. We won't.
P for private. That's weird though.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
It sounds gross.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Eric's shaking his head at us, which means we've done our jobs. And I'm going to move straight into the Q&A section.
Yeah, so
let's do it.
Post some more questions if you want. I'm just
post questions. I won't answer them.
Is that the new song?
Nope.
Okay. So we've got a few already, so again, keep them coming. So one of the first ones. So we can carry new players to max gear and they can skip all the content now.
Nope. I mean, you could, but you're going to have to, take them through all the steps of progression, and honestly, to get them through all the progression, they'll have to get enough ascension levels and gear to probably help you get to where you need to go. Because just with how the difficulty scales and kind of the end game mode, you're not going to be able to have like piddly geared players in your group. If you're really going into the higher levels of Onslaught, you're going to want everyone to be kind of comparable levels.
There's some carrying that can be done, but it'll take some. It's not like you can just like 20 minutes. We're the same person now.
Yeah, there's some carrying you can do, but we've counted on that honestly, and kind of how we're building it. So we're not like dissuading carrying, but you definitely can't do all the progression via pure carry, I guess. Like it's just it gets too bananas.
There's some good questions coming up right now.
All right.
Sorry, I'm grabbing them before they just slide away in chat forever. Let's go with the next one up. So if I join on a friend, I'll be able to get C7 gear.
You won't be able to join your friend.
Yeah, you'll have to. I mean, they could
with gating now. They'll have to carry you through at least the trials up to KS7 or through your floors of Onslaught. So they'll have to come down to you to help you progress up to it.
Yeah.
You won't be able to just like hop into endgame matches anymore.
There's some carrying.
You are able to do that right now.
Yeah.
But you will not. And Smart Loot is still on in trials, so you literally wouldn't get gear even if you did do that.
From that.
If you did the trials way, so like you would still. Have to go through the right chaos progression to even get loot. But then if you do the Onslaught, you have to go floor by floor.
Yeah.
So like, good luck getting carried quickly, because you still gotta get the gear.
Yeah.
Like, or else you can't do much of anything.
So, getting a couple here. For the next one, can you use? Oh, sorry. We'll go with this one because this is kind of relevant now. With infinite progression, has there been any consideration to storage and bag space?
Yes, there has. And there's actually some systems that we're working on for the future for that.
And right now we've actually...
So yeah, it's been a consideration. We're releasing a new bag booster pack, so you can actually add +1 more bag slot to your inventory right now. That's kind of a temporary measure of increasing bag size. Even if you bought the old inventory pack, it'll actually still work. So you can get the new one, and it'll be fine and apply and all that jazz. It works with really any kind of amount your current bags are at. But that is something we're considering for kind of moving forward with development of the game. There's been a lot of discussions about like banks, and we've read feedback about like shard banks and shard tabs and shard storage and all that stuff.
And shards.
So there's definitely some conversations going on with our design department and some plans we're making to make inventory and item management better, and also give you better places to store and hold on to items.
Let's see here. Another one is, can we use Ancient Power in Mastery? So I think with that one...
Yes, you can. So it actually will help. The buffs you're going to get from it, like at the first couple of levels, won't be super strong in Mastery, because everything's scaled down in Mastery. The buffs themselves are going to heavily depend on kind of the current level of your character without going too specific.
Yeah.
But they will help. They're not going to help very much at first, but definitely over time, Mastery will get easier.
Okay. Another one is Ascension's reset with Ancient Power reset.
So there's a little some extra details there that I'm not going to reveal yet.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see.
So where's the location? We kind of covered that like a little bit in the...
Where's the location of what?
I think for the initial Onslaught map is what they were asking. So we kind of showed that in the trailer. Some things kind of change, again, without giving too many specifics.
I mean, we can give the specifics about the hub. You guys just watched it in the trailer. You just literally saw all of the parts change
watch it again.
in the announcement trailer.
Just watch it again.
So obviously the area where the Terraria portal is and the Heroes Marketplace is going to change. And there's stairs down to a portal that will take you into Onslaught. You can also just access Onslaught from the regular war table too. And then there's actually going to be an NPC, a little mana node guy, one of those little green guys, near the stairs down to the Onslaught portal. And he's going to be the NPC where you actually activate and gain Ancient Power once you get there.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do we lose our shards?
No, you do not lose your shards, actually. I will reveal that.
Yeah,
you do not.
Yeah, that's important.
We didn't want... we're going to definitely let you hold on to any items that could have possibly been premium.
Yeah.
So like anything that people could have bought with money, and obviously shards are part of that, right? We have shard packs, or even like Defender medals, right? You could have bought them with Defender medals. or just earned them, and you've spent a lot of time getting the ones you needed and leveling them up. So we're not going to take those away. That's why I keep using the word limited reset. That's kind of one of the things that we're not going to take away from you.
Yeah. So you'll still have that.
You'll still have them.
Yeah. Let's see here. Are there going to be leaderboards for Onslaught?
Yes, there are going to be leaderboards for Onslaught. I think the first we had planned actually 3 different versions of leaderboards for Onslaught in our original design. Obviously, Ice has done a fantastic job of crafting and building the mastery leaderboards. There's also another leaderboard that he's building for Onslaught. We're probably going to start out with a floor leaderboard, and then actually get a little bit fancier from there. We might do some world first floor clears. Ooh. And team comps for those, and get a little bit fancier with our leaderboards. But the first iteration of the leaderboard is probably going to be floor number and the people that did it, and then also we might sort by score within the given floor. So if 2 people have cleared floor 68 or whatever, maybe the higher scores will be listed above that. That's something, again, we're kind of working out the details on to see if it actually makes sense. But at minimum, you'll have a floor number leaderboard to just kind of have names of people that are at high floors.
And see what's been possible so far.
See what's been possible so far, what other people are doing, kind of see. The Prestige UI actually will also show kind of your stats too. So it's you'll be able to see your stats in game, at least, kind of some of your highest and stuff like that on your account in game, and then we'll also have the leaderboards so you can kind of check out where other people are.
Yep. Let's see here. How is the difficulty in Onslaught going solo versus 4-man?
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because technically, you can play as much as you can possibly play solo. We're building it with solo in mind, but I definitely think you'll be able to push farther with a full team, especially when you start to get to the higher end of Onslaught. It's just the difficulty is going to crank up so much that you're going to need 3 other active players helping you defend, repair, all the play actively in order to be able to beat it. So the difficulty definitely scales up and up and up and up, and you'll definitely need a group to kind of push the higher floors. But for most of the early progression, almost to the Ancient Power unlock. Again, I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but we're keeping solo players in mind as well as parties. We want to have both be able to do it and have a good experience in Onslaught. So you'll just kind of probably play at different paces, but be able to do all the content.
How will XP work in the new mode? Will it be the same as Trials?
XP, again, is going to scale for kind of the floor that you're on. So it goes up incrementally as you're progressing through.
Because we wouldn't want people to just farm floor 1 constantly and get
huge
amounts of XP.
That would make no sense.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit crazy.
So the higher you go, the more you get. We might cap it out. It's again kind of another detail we're ironing out.
Someone's asking how they'll be able to show off their how good they are at the game without their ascension level being so high. We do actually have these.
You're going to have an ascension power. You're going to still have your ascension level being high if you want to gauge that as your power, but you're also going to have, there's certain things, cosmetics that you can get for pushing high Onslaught floors, which will be a way to show it off. And then there's also your prestige party frame emblem icon that also shows up in town right next to your name. So you can also show off that you're super high, ancient power, prestiged a bajillion times, pretty easily to other players. So there's definitely some easy ways to show off.
And then we've had, this one's just because we've had it so much. People are asking if there's a new hero and when will she or he come out. Not with this expansion release, but...
This expansion is pretty much just gameplay. It's just a huge gameplay add to the game, and really again, it's just an expansion.
Yeah.
It's an expansion of our game in pretty much every way. We even rebuilt the entire buffs, the way buffs work in our game as part of this expansion. There's been so many tech stuff and changes that have gone on behind the scenes for this. Like, so it's really been...
Yeah, we're focusing on this.
It's a lot of changes.
No, that's not to say we don't have any plans.
I mean, it's there's no hero that's going to be coming out with the expansion.
Right.
Obviously, we have plans for post-expansion ads.
Cool.
Not going to say what those are,
Yeah.
but you know, there might be a certain muscly hero person in our future. I don't know.
I think I might have seen him before.
But only if he has hard nipples.
Ooh, only if they're hard? We've got some amazing fan art out there. I'm waiting for me as a Squire still to compliment it. But there's been some amazing...
Squire's old news.
Yeah. But there's an Elandrian fan art out there by one of even someone who's watching the stream right now that we were delighted to see.
Delighted. It's actually now the background, the lock screen on my work computer.
Incidentally, the previous one was by the same person.
You're right.
So that's 2 for 2.
Muscly Go-Boos.
Muscly Go-Boos. Are higher floors more than just giving enemies higher stats?
Yes. So additional schedules unlock, additional modifiers unlock, like the gameplay changes and gets harder as you progress through Onslaught. It's not just like an enemy level and stat gain. Like there's more things that are going to make it harder that are happening. And also, like, for instance, you know, even another thing, the Onslaught map gets harder as you go higher up. It will generate more lanes and more cores, and it gets nuts. Yeah. So, yeah, there's, like, multiple layers of gameplay things that are progressing as you progress.
Yeah, and again, I don't even know if we covered the numbers on that map, but it's a ton of lanes and a ton of cores.
30 lanes, 10 cores. Jose threw it on the dev log.
Okay, I wasn't gonna give that specific, but if he put it out there,
it's already in the wild.
It's shipping it. That's how it has to go. But it's insane the amount of combination. Let's see here. What's another one? So we've had this one coming up a few times.
I don't know if that includes the air lanes either.
Oh,
is that just ground lanes?
I think it's air lanes as well.
Air lanes too?
Yeah, I think so. So this one's coming.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to double check.
Okay.
I have to get that one clarified.
Yeah. Another one, from a studio favorite, Simon B.
Simon Beast.
Simon Beast.
I root for you, Simon B.
I dream about you. No,
not that much.
No, never mind.
No.
Take it back. Cut the stream.
I don't know about dreaming about you. But.
Ooh. I don't know. So in the devlog, we mentioned defender packs a little bit, and so they kind of want to know what does that entail, and there's some details there that we're not going to really share just quite yet, but there might be some of them in Onslaught.
Yeah, you'll be able to get defender packs for free in Onslaught. There's also a bunch you can get from campaign completion and stuff like that. Everyone who's already completed campaign will get a bunch for free, like from the get-go, because they've already beaten it.
Yeah.
So like we're giving you free stuff, I guess. More free things.
Yeah,
which is pretty dope.
So it's.
We heard you guys' feedback kind of about the pricing of flares and stuff like that being a little expensive. So we really wanted to offer a lot more to you guys. For significantly cheaper, and in some cases significantly cheaper means free.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of free options for stuff in this expansion. It's nuts. Like, it's a lot of things. You'll see a bunch of it on the cosmetic manager too. When you load up the expansion, just like like a bunch of the added stuff you can get. It'll also, in most cases, will tell you like where to get it from, like where you get things from. Some of them, like the Onslaught progression ones, it'll be like, oh, you get this from, Onslaught floor or whatever.
Right.
And so you can browse the cosmetic manager to kind of see where you get stuff from. And yeah, you'll see there's a lot more added there.
Yeah. And some of this is also based off of feedback where players were getting the hero specific chests and stuff like that. So this is, I'm not going to say how this interacts with that, but this is also a response to that.
Oh, you know how people hated green chests?
Oh.
In Trials? I guess you'll just have to see what happens in Onslaught with the victory chest. You'll just have to see.
Yeah.
You just have to see. That's just like one more little teaser I'll just throw out there real quick.
Yeah. Whatever it is, looks amazing.
I'm just gonna say we heard that you didn't like green chests
at all.
So now it's all green chests. I mean, just
wait, no, yeah, it's
just all green.
It's all green chests.
It's all green chests now.
We just
no, there's a little surprise with the Onslaught victory chest. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And it's not green chests.
It's almost too intimidating to approach. Like the first time
it's definitely not green chests.
The first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know if I should open that. That
too scary.
Too scary. Too spooky.
Too spooky.
I can't do it.
What else we got?
They want to know when it's coming.
We're not going to say when it's coming yet.
Well,
but soon.
Yeah.
That we'll be announcing pretty soon.
Yeah.
So you can look out for that. Just not right now. Obviously, we like literally just announced that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be announcing the date pretty soon. We're kind of trying to, again, finishing up all the things in the expansion. We're iterating. We're editing. We're doing all the things. So we'll be telling you guys a release date kind of when it gets a little bit more appropriate. It's again not super far. It's coming in December.
Yeah.
Just the specific day
of this year. People keep
of
2019.
This year.
Just to make sure you know it's this year.
2017.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the specific day we'll be telling you guys pretty soon.
How will the loot drops scale in the new Onslaught? We kind of covered that a little bit.
Floors.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's not going to be like the same jumps as between trials because those are like big jumps. But again, it's just steady incremental progression. So like, it'll be a little bit better every floor. It's noticeably better each floor. So you'll see. It feels really good. Like it feels really good how it's working right now. So like, I almost don't want to touch the loot progression right now. We might make it even better, but it's in a really good place right now. Yeah. So I'm excited for you guys to check it out.
Yeah, I've put some time in. It feels really solid just to try it with a new account, just to progress through stuff because I don't want to just roll things. And the amount of gear you get and how you're replacing it feels really good. The progressing through floors, I think I was able to get through like a decent amount of floors in just one playthrough. So it feels really good progressing through it. And this one's coming. There's like 7 times I've seen this one so far. New Dryad skins.
Yes, actually. Not gonna say how you get them.
It's just
But yeah, or what they are. But yes, at least. Is it 3 or 2? At least 2. At least 2.
Yeah,
so that's all I'm saying.
I'm counting. They can't see.
I mean, that was probably more info than I should have said.
Was, yeah, you put numbers up.
But at least 2 more skins for Dryad in this expansion.
Yeah.
Damn.
Whatever. Right there. And that one, I don't know about only Dryad.
Definitely not just only Dryad. Yeah. There's a lot more coming in this expansion.
A lot more.
So yeah, you'll just have to see.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about it more in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have not picked a hashtag for our Dryad giveaway.
No.
So I want to go ahead and put some hashtags out there. Unless you got one.
Patch of the Ancients.
Oh, that's so long.
I know, this is way too long. Hashtag PODA.
That's what's got to be.
All caps.
Yeah.
It'll have to be all caps. Hashtag PODA.
There we go. Here, I'll get it posted.
The new Dota. We're back to a MOBA, boys.
We did it.
Never again.
All right, there you go.
There we go. Oh god, the hashtag spam.
That's all.
Are there questions we can get that happened before the spam?
No.
Oh, good.
So
good.
There was the approximately how. So we can't really talk about this specifically, but approximately how many floors is C7? It's a decent amount.
It's a chunk.
Yeah. So.
The higher levels of Onslaught are a good sizable chunk of or the higher levels of Trials of Chaos, like Chaos 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain again without going into super details about how the floors work. But yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to be playing when you get this update.
Ooh.
When you get this expansion.
Here's a very relevant question,
right.
which I would actually probably be announcing today anyways if we didn't have the Devstream. What is the Ascension cap for Mastery 6? That is a very relevant question.
Oh, I don't even know.
I think I know.
Mark would know.
Yeah.
They're like,
it should be 10.
10?
For C5 it was 5, and I'm 95% sure.
I just been focused on Onslaught.
Yeah. No, I know.
Sorry,
He's got your
I watched you guys battle it out, and I watched the leaderboards, and I watch. I'm super proud of the Xbox and PS4 players. You guys are the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So good job, like pushing hard. Because I know PC players have been around probably a bunch longer. So I'm super happy to see the console players kicking butt too. But yeah, other than that, I've been focused on Onslaught.
Yeah,
You guys are doing a great job of Mastery. Mark's been kind of the eyes and ears on Mastery.
Yeah, he's got Mark just confirmed twice that it's 10. So we've got
confirmed twice.
Twice.
I don't know, three times the charm, man.
We might need Mark to say it's 10.
We need one more time.
That's true. Otherwise, it's not.
Maybe we'll give him a free dry ad for saying it one more time. Mark, you'll get a free dry ad.
I don't know if he has her unlocked yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
That one
That would be weird if he didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't play with dry ad. What?
I don't test her on that. Oh, we missed out on a really good hashtag. Hashtag Power of the Ancient Tomato Sauce Openers.
Damn.
That's what POTA stands for. But I think, oh wait, that's potato. That's
oh.
Okay. That would have been
I
missed out on the
potatoes.
But that could have been a good expansion name.
The potato expansion.
Potato, and it stands for
powered by potato.
Oh man. Do we get a free reset again this weekend? We did that specifically for 5.
Yeah, I don't know about this weekend.
Yeah, just as also like another like little celebration as we get halfway through. You might see something towards the end of the race that might be a little celebration, but for right now we wanted to make sure that with C5 it was something.
You gotta get those approved, man.
Yeah. So it takes some time, but we've got those out for right now.
We'll be doing some more fun weekend stuff.
Oh yeah, we got some stuff.
We're actually adding the ability for more events with this expansion too.
Yeah, so there's
more like variety and kind of the live events that are going on. Again, this expansion is huge. It's a ton of like adds to the game in a lot of areas.
Yeah,
there's going to be like even more weekend and weekly event things that we're doing and fun stuff going on coming out with this.
Yeah, we've only had double gold, double XP, and free Ascension resets, and there's like way more. Like, and just to reiterate on feedback again, most of these ideas are things that you as the community were something that you really wanted. You guys had a lot of discussions about it.
That we specifically ignored.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We wrote them down and threw them away.
Actually threw them in a barrel fire.
That's true.
And then from the smoke signals that came out of the barrel fire, those became the events.
It was the ones that came through the smoke signal. They passed the test.
They passed the test.
So it's our test barrel.
Yeah.
It's what
we should add a test barrel to the Heroes Marketplace now.
So, all right. So it's 4 o'clock. So we'll be rolling some winners here after the stream ends. So stick around and chat. We'll be shooting your messages with those codes as well. But yeah, for right now, that's it. We won't be having a stream next week because it's Thanksgiving for us Americans. So you won't see us then, but we'll definitely be back the week after.
Yep.
So that's it for us.
So happy holidays, guys.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to tell you more about Power of the Ancients.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us today.
Goodbye.
Bye.